there, didn't we?
A lot of cat and mouse in those races, and it was funny in the press conference yesterday. They asked, was there a gentlewoman's agreement once the first three had cleared in the race with Karsten, Zhang, and Frida Svensson? And she said, you know, we looked across at each other and knew the three of us were going to go on, so maybe there was, but there won't be one tomorrow.
So that's a promise and a challenge, and it's Emma Twigg for New Zealand. 80 kilos and 181 in height. So a good weight and height ratio. Very good athlete. 24 years old only, so she might well go on to Rio in 2016. But first, of course, to come is the London Olympics. All boats have qualified. The nations have qualified for the Olympics, who have entered the final here.
Twigg had a fantastic race in Lucerne when she won that. It was the one time at the World Cup where Ekaterina Karsten ended up off the podium. She said she had some, there were some issues with visa problems for the coaches, so she just had a terrible run up to that race, but certainly appears to be on form here at the World Championships. She said to me, I talked to her a few days ago, and she said that she thought that this would be the toughest race heading into the Olympics, because qualification is on the line. These 6 are all through, but this is the cream of the crop at this point in the season.
And Anne-Kathrin Thiele for Germany, whom we saw on the screen just a moment ago, sets the pace in this final of the women's single sculls, the climax of this regatta here. She wants to go out and move out early. She scored a silver and a bronze at the Munich and Hamburg stages of the World Cup, then decided not to go to Lucerne, and after a quarter of this race she leads by a canvas over Karsten and Twigg, who are level for second. I think there the timing is definitely not right. It's not a second separating these two athletes, and China's there too, as is Frida Svensson of Sweden and Czech Republic. So it's still tight, this field here, with Twigg now closing in on Thiele of Germany, and also Karsten decided to apply a more aggressive tactic this time, not play cat and mouse and make stalking, as you say, as stalking on the other athletes, coming from behind and then overtaking at a certain point of the race.
I think she said that she tries to mix up her strategy so no one can really figure it out, but there's no way she's going to be able to hang too far back in the field, especially when you look at someone like Emma Twigg here, who refused to be caught at the World Cup in Lucerne.
Well, she looks good today as well, but and leading by a canvas ahead of the German, who also sets a high pace here and tries to display an aggressive tactic. That's Karsten for Belarus, as you said, 4th place at Lucerne, but won both in Hamburg and Munich, and was silver medalist behind Frida Svensson, her lane neighbor in lane 6 from Sweden. This is Anne-Kathrin Thiele with the fantastic row in her experience, where they challenged the Eva Swindell sisters for gold at the Beijing Olympics and lost by the narrowest of margins.
I think it was 200ths of a second. It was one of the most exciting finishes ever. She's decided she wants to go for the individual pursuit, and therefore she has entered the single. Karsten at 31 beats a minute, understroking again, rowing that low, calm rating, but staying in touch, and she does have the ability to jack that rating up and pounce. Wow, look at this, New Zealand with open water now.
On Karsten and Thiele, but behind Twigg the field is still tightly packed indeed. Knapkova moving in and closing in on Karsten now at this point, with an even lower rating, I think, and Zhang of China hanging just a half length down. So this is going to be a good one. All athletes still within contentions of the medals. This is unlike to the other, or this is a difference to the other races we've seen earlier. Here you can see it from the top view, just 1.5 lengths separating all 6 athletes vying for just 3 medals.
Really a gutsy move, I think, by Emma Twigg to go after that lead, but Karsten is close. And Karsten is definitely making sure she's right there. And as you mentioned, Knapkova, and never count out Zhang. Zhang is just an exceptional sprinter.
She can do a good last 500 indeed. But look at Twigg. She really has it in her mind. You have to judge every stroke really right 220 strokes to the 2,000 meter coast, roughly in the single scull. Every stroke has to be exactly right to be able to spend all your energy within the 220 strokes and not end up with 200 strokes and then you have to have the last 20 and no energy left. Emma Twigg really tries to go out first at 1500, and now she has over 2 lengths margin. Can she sustain that pace? That's the question with 750 meters to go. Twigg of New Zealand leading another pack of scullers, headed now by Mirka Klapkova of the Czech Republic, just ahead of Karsten. Thiele of Germany slipping behind into 4th place.
You can see Twigg's seat is starting to drive a little bit before the blades are in the water, probably a sign of fatigue from the exertion to get the lead that she has achieved so far. But still, 1 boat length, it appears, over Karsten, and then, oh, that's Knapkova, I believe, and then Karsten half a length back, and now it's going to get really interesting in this final 500 meters.
What can Zhang Shuyun of China do? She chose as the fastest single sculler for China to spend the season in Europe, trained in various German towns, and also started at the Ratzeburg International Regatta. But Twigg now under pressure from Knapkova. Now this might be the big moment for Mirka Knapkova. If she can hold off any challenge coming from Karsten, she might now be overtaking the New Zealand sculler. 34 strokes a minute for Knapkova of the Czech Republic. Still Twigg holding on to a slight lead though. This angle is deceptive, but now it might be level between Knapkova and Twigg. Now Knapkova comes through with a canvas lead, and her boat, you can see that on the screen, has the biggest speed now. With 2:50 to go, it's Twigg of New Zealand that has to come back now on the Czech Republic. Last year we saw the surprise win by Frida Svensson after a long streak of winning some medals here and there. Now it might be the hour of long-time contender Mirka Knapkova for any medal. A fantastic row, and she's here 100 meters from the finish line. Her speed is still the greatest, but here come Ekaterina Karsten with 1.5 lengths to cover on Knapkova. 15 strokes it's still left in this race. Knapkova of the Czech Republic leading the way home though, and she ups the rate once more. She's on 38 strokes a minute now. Knapkova winning the gold. I'm sure of that now if no wreckage happens, because Karsten is closing in and might win a silver ahead of Twigg of New Zealand. But it's the hour of Mirka Knapkova scoring a gold medal for the Czech Republic and beating Ekaterina Karsten, who scores a very good silver medal ahead of Twigg of New Zealand. And then it was not much between the reigning world champion and Zhang of China for places 4 and 5. Definitely Thiele in 6th place for Germany. That's a race, and there's confirmation